existing equipment. Again, the key task coming from the WHO TRS, you can see facility assessment. You need to have the plans, the drawings of the layout. Qualifications, very important, design qualifications, DQ, IQ, installation qualification, OQ, operational qualification, and very important, the reports, right? Very important, the reports, and this is also something that sometimes is a little bit difficult for companies to generate value-added reports. It's sometimes very difficult to go through all the validation package. It's time-consuming, so it's very important for the companies, any company, to develop and to learn how to produce added value reports. Very important, the DQ, design qualification, to understand why they selected from the sending unit, why were these pieces of equipment or trains established. Then, of course, we need the side-by-side comparison, the gap, the receiving unit to perform it, and of course, the qualification report protocol and report is critical. And again, these documents need to be controlled, and they need to be, of course, under data integrity requirements. A little bit more about qualification and validation, just to situate ourselves in the broad regulations and to understand where we have the tech transfer. So remember, this is also a document that you can retrieve from TRS 1019, recently 2019. So this is important. It's coming from this Appendix 7, but as you can see, and this is pretty much aligned with FDA process validation 2011, the year. So this is important because we're seeing this harmonization between the main regulatory bodies of the world. So in this case, you can see what is the main achievement in this new approach, the process design. This part, this initial part here, process design is the key milestone in terms of saying, okay, we're going to include this, meaning we cannot talk about process validation if we don't start with process design. So this is very important, and this is exactly the link to development, which I was mentioning. So as you can see, you have all the pilot scale-up batches, risk assessment, again, to identify the critical quality attributes. This is coming from the process design. Remember that validation, which would be the second stage, which is named process qualification here in this terminology. Validation does not create and define the critical attributes. And parameters. This should be rooted into the process development process design. Okay, so protocols, reports, very important, validated process, and here you have the critical quality attributes and the critical process control to be monitored. And of course, phase 2, which is this one. This process qualification, just as a reminder, is the basically typical traditional qualification or validation, which was before, covering, of course, all the premises, utilities, and equipment, the batches, the monitoring, and of course, here you have these defined number of batches. One note, you can see here that it says defined number of batches. It doesn't say 3 batches. This is important also. We sometimes call this as there's no magic 3, right? The 3 batches. So actually the concept would be the necessary number of batches to prove that you are in a state of control and know your variability. So that's important. It could be more than 3. That's the point. Usually not less than, but that doesn't mean that 3 is enough. And of course, the other important thing that was introduced was the continuous process verification. Why this last stage? Because companies tended to finish this process qualification, and then they were having some problems in following up, or maybe overdoing validation studies. So basically here we have like opportunities in terms of that we need a periodic review of trends. So this is another important concept. We're talking about trend analysis. We're talking about this at least since 2010 or even before that. So we are already more than 10 years into the trend analysis, and still the companies have some trouble in terms of this. So this is important. And of course, we have the enablers, of course, here, change control, again, product life cycle, and again, our backbone, which is the risk management all the time. So technology transfer is completely integrated to validation. So as it is absolutely linked to development, and when you transfer, you're going to go into a new phase of development, actually, that builds up into the original development. So development is completely, tech transfer is completely rooted into development and also completely integrated to validation. Okay.
Sorry, Victor, just to interrupt. There was just a question in the chat. What is the difference between inline, online, and at line? As you mentioned in your last slide.
Yes. This is not an easy answer to this. It's referring to the instrumentation in part that you have, for example, in online total organic carbon, just to give an example, total organic carbon sensor or probe inside the pipes, right, in a water system. So you would have that in online measurement. But also if you take samples, right, and you measure, you can also go into the concept of inline measurement. However, this could go into the Q&A box, and I could specifically detail the answers to this question, which is a good question.
Okay, yeah, definitely. We will.
Yes, because
we will collect this. We collect this very good question, and then into the Q&A. Okay.
Yes, because it's a semantic aspect, but I would, if you allow me, I would like to answer that in a more complete way to the participants.
Yes. Okay. We will put it into the Q&A. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so the extent of qualification or validation should be determined based on risk management principle. This is a typical phrase that it's applied to any validation, or actually any action, in a way. So this is what gives us, the GMP is giving us a way to decide what kind of effort and energy and time we're going to devote to different aspects. So in this case, the qualification, in the case of tech transfer, it also falls into this concept, provided it is adequately documented. It is important to understand. Not only documented, but also documented in a timely manner. Qualification and validation should be documented. This is something very basic. Again, if we go to the FDA document, you could see how it is harmonized in terms of the stage 1 process design, stage 2 process qualification, as we mentioned, and stage 3 continued process verification. This is coming. It's coming from FDA 2011, another document that needs to be very well understood, read, and to find how they complement, because all regulations, they complement between them. They have a lot in common, most of the concepts in common, but they have this percentage that is very useful to understand how to complement themselves to get the right approach. Okay, so we will compare, as we said, the gap analysis. This should also be under data integrity and governance principles apply. Remember the ALCOA requirements are in effect, and this documentation that is generated in the tech transfer is also controlled by this requirement. And of course, we need, again, to report. This is very important, the reporting and what the report should include. More or less what is here, like the scope, the parameters, the final conclusions of the transfers, and especially the discrepancies in actions and decisions taken. Remember that all documents, not only the tech transfer, any document is revised, starting with the summary reports. So the summary reports is something that should be considered in the data integrity policy of the companies, basically in terms of how to prepare, how to generate a good report, not only the tech transfer, but in any other aspect of the GMPs. Not only generate the report, but also how to review the report. The revision process is something very critical, not only affecting the tech transfer, but in any other document. There's a special deficiency in terms of what is a good revision process. And that needs to be identified, that needs to be defined within the company and trained. Okay, in terms of the risk analysis tool, as you were able to see in session 1, this is just an example, but it follows the failure mode effect analysis, as you were able to see in session 1. As you can see, you have all the headers. It could have variations in terms of all the different manners to do it. The ICH Q9 gives a lot of flexibility in terms of which tool to use and how to design your tool. So feel free to explore any improvements and ways or manners to deliver this. But basically, as you can see, we need to understand, to think ahead of time, which is the potential failure mode. And this is important not only to understand the risk, right, but also to understand the failure mode, meaning how did that went wrong, which was the failure process involved. And so this is important not only to see the effect, but also how did that came to happen. And of course, we know about the severity to be identified. And of course, we need to here understand, as we were saying, the potential and the failure mechanisms of the failure. This is very important to understand it, because the better we understand the failure mechanism, we're going to have better possibilities to prevent them and to make the changes in order to avoid them. Of course, we need to understand the occurrence, and this occurrence is important because it usually has two aspects.